Well, good morning, everyone. I appreciate the hospitality extended to us by the Daily Dunklin Democrat here in Kennett, Missouri today. For identification purposes, I'm Kent Hampton, serving as State Representative for the new redistricted 150th District, majority of Dunklin County and the southern portion of Pemiscot County. We come here today for information purposes only to upgrade people and citizens of the new district itself as far as what's ongoing. There has seemed to be a continuance of changes in election process that we thought had completed itself on November the 6th when we were identified as the victor that night over previous Representative Tom Todd, only to find out later on that there was some issues, and we have continually been in through a court process along the way. Sitting here beside of me is my good friend and also my legal counsel, Russ Oliver, who has been very, very engaged on top of all the proceedings, done a great job as far as advising and keeping track. I know a small amount of this has been reported locally. There has been a lot more that has not been identified. So that is our purpose of being here today, is to catch everyone up to date as what has transpired from November the 6th to where we are today, March the 1st itself. I can say that at that night, when the Dunklin County clerk tabulated the votes, totaled with the Pemiscot vote itself, we were declared a winner by a total of 116 vote difference between the two counties. At that time, the election was closed. I went about my business, had to be in Jeff City the following day by noon. And then we were making plans to visit the areas and the constituents once again. A week later, on a Tuesday, the 13th of November, I get a call out of the prosecuting attorney's office informing me there was a problem on the ballots, unbeknownst to me. So I come down the following day on Wednesday, the 14th, to follow up on that. And Russ, I'm fixing to bring you in on this because as we do, of course, long before your time with Dragnet was just the facts. And then Paul Harvey is the rest of the story. So we want to bring you in, and we only want to identify things that are accurate and that have been noted, that are open for public records and everything else that a lot of the citizens here in the 150th District may not be aware of. So if you wouldn't mind, could you take us forward?
Well, there's been a great deal already been reported on what has happened and what has transpired in the legal cases. However, there's quite a bit that hasn't been reported, and some that have been inaccurately reported based on statements from Mr. Sokoloff. Wanted to take the folks back through the process that we've been through. After our hearing in early December, the judge issued an order that Kent and I had both sat down and we talked about and agreed to live by that order. We were more than happy to participate in the 2 precinct revote that the judge had ordered. However, that order was the subject of a petition for a writ of prohibition that was filed in the Southern District Court of Appeals, and then subsequently filed after it was denied, filed in the Missouri Supreme Court. During that time, Mr. Sokoloff found five people who he said should have voted that didn't vote. Reopened the entire proceedings to get these 5 additional people in the voting process, and we had a hearing on that. A new order was issued, ordering a new court date with 3 precincts this time, and still yet that wasn't good enough. We had to go back up to the Southern District and then again the Supreme Court. And during the time that this was going on, the the Board of Canvassers, which is a functionary of the Secretary of State, when election returns are certified by the local election authorities, they're sent to Jefferson City, and the Board of Canvassers review those returns and determine whether to certify those elections or not. Those returns were certified. No one has ever questioned or challenged the results of the Board of Canvassers in Jefferson City, and that happened on December 5th. In the first part of January, the Secretary of State filed a lawsuit in Cole County, which was to directly about whether she should issue a certificate of election to Kent Hampton. The Cole County Court held a hearing on that. We went to Jefferson City. The Cole County Court dismissed her petition and said that there was nothing that she had pled or alleged that would prevent her from presenting the certificate of election to Kent Hampton. The certificate of election is the document that allows a person to hold the seat and take the oath of office for the House of Representatives. Kent Hampton on, was it
January the 9th.
January 9th was sworn in by the Speaker of the House. It's been reported in many news outlets based on the statements of Steve Sokoloff that this was a provisional seating. There's nothing provisional about the seating. The certificate of election is here beside me with Mr. Hampton. There's nothing provisional about it. It says has no qualification. Now the abstracts that are sent from the Secretary of State does have an asterisk that says that there's litigation pending, but that's not a qualification or creates any kind of provisional status with his seating. He's a seated member of the House of Representatives. He is acting fully in that capacity, and there are no limitations on his ability to act in that capacity. We're here today now with a new order from the judge ordering a March 19th election. Basically in the exact same position that we were in November, with a 3-precinct revote. We don't know what Mr. Todd's going to do. We don't know what Ms. Hensley's going to do. But we're here to talk to the people of Dunklin County and say, at some point, enough is enough. At some point, we have to get to the business of the people, and that's what Mr. Hampton is trying to do. With all of this hanging over his head and looming out there, at some point we have to say enough is enough, and we have to have resolution of this matter in some way, shape, or form. So I'm asking, and Ken is asking, for you to contact Carol Hinesley, contact Tom Todd, and say at some point enough has to be enough, and we have to have resolution of this matter finally and fully.
And would it be safe to say, Russ, of any state or federal election going on in the United States, this is probably the only one that has a speed bump in the road?
I don't know of any other in the state. There's some issue, with separation of powers here, but that's something that for a court to decide on the constitutional provisions that say that the Speaker of the House will determine the qualification of its members and if its members should be seated. But that's something for a court to decide, and I don't want to presuppose that. However, there are things that the people of Dunklin County and can do with regard to their elected officials, how their tax money is being spent in prosecuting this action that has been to the Supreme Court now 2 times, likely to go a 3rd time, and has been in the courts of appeals numerous times. This is your government. This is your representatives that are taking these courses of action, and it's time that the people express their positions and beliefs on how the taxpayers' resources should be used.
as I count up, and I may be off one, but I'm thinking through writs and appeals and dates of election. Does that make about 11 courts that we've been before?
Personally, I've lost count, so I don't know. It's numerous.
So we don't think that this is good for the citizens of Dunklin County. We don't think it's good for the district of the 150th. We're here to serve. That is our mission, always has been. And now we're at a point that we're 20 months from a new election. So this needs to end, and it needs to end now. So we can go about and tout what this area has and the good people that live in this area and be proud of this area and move forward. We learned from the past, but it's time to move forward. And enough is enough. So I thank you for your time today. Russ, I appreciate you being here.
Absolutely.
To update us on facts and information that many other citizens of the 150th District were not made aware of as of yet, has not been revealed to them, do not know the process that's ongoing, and we're continuing to serve the district while still engaged in other issues that go along with the election itself. So I appreciate your time. It's been my honor to work in your capacity and look forward to meeting up with you along the way. Thank you for this.